mean, they are on county land, so they have written permission to function and to put on events. They had their first one this past weekend. So they put together a plan, an action plan, a laundry list of stuff, and I'll get a copy of that, and we'll go into it in a second. And then I'll probably tweak it to my own liking. Some stuff will probably be a little stricter, and we'll go from there. And the reason why, before I go into some of the stuff, the reason why I choose to be a little stricter is, one, they're a club and they're a long-term tenant, so I think they would probably get a little more leniency from the authorities should there be something questionable. Where I am a subletter. I'm somebody coming in, a independent promoter coming in to rent their facility, and if I made any transgressions or if I broke the rules or didn't do anything to the county, they would shut us down faster than they would shut the club down, I would think. And in that respect, I also wouldn't want to take those risks, because not only that it would put myself in jeopardy and my racers, but anything I do reflects poorly on the club, and I simply don't want to do that. I don't want to put their club in jeopardy or put them in a bad light because of something that I did incorrectly. So, like I said, I'm going to take what they did and probably take a couple steps up on it just to make sure. So, starting, are you still there? I know I keep talking. I just want to make sure you're still there.
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right, perfect. and maybe the 5 other people listening are still here, right?
3. 3 people.
3. All right, perfect. I like it. So, hello everybody out there, all 3 of you. So, we made the announcement. Basically, every driver gets one mechanic. I'm not charging for wristbands. It's our entity is $500. That's Friday practice, Saturday race, a set of tires, your driver band, your mechanic 2-day band, and then if you're a minor, you can get a secondary band. As a parent, if that parent happens to have a separate mechanic, or if dad's a mechanic and wants to bring mom, okay, you can get a second band. There's no that's all included. So what that means is basically it's a 1-for-1. So if we have 100 drivers, we're gonna have 200 people there, maybe 250 if 50 of them are minors. We can't have 500 people on the ground. We just can't. The rules of social distancing and all this stuff just don't allow it. So people are gonna have to be cognizant of that. We made that announcement, and there'll be a laundry list that I post on the website here within the next week of here's all the rules.
ChallengeKarting.com.
Yeah, there you go. ChallengeKarting.com. So that's number one, is you're limited to your personnel. So unfortunately, if it's typically junior races and mom, dad, and sister are all there, they just can't this time. We just can't. Will we get there? Yeah, in a few months we will probably get there again, but we're not there now. When you check in, what Phoenix did was great, and we'll copycat that and maybe take it to one more level. Is they did one way traffic flow, meaning how registration lines normally work. You walk up to a window and then you fight your way back to the line to get out. So we'll route it in a way where it only goes one way, so people aren't backtracking on each other. And people may be rolling their eyes when they hear this stuff, and in some respects maybe I do too. But if that's what we're dealt and those are the rules we have to deal with, those are the rules we have to deal with. So I'm not going to try to skirt them. I'm not going to try to fudge them. I'm just going to live by them and design a program around it.
Okay.
That being said, they do have a window there. So, you walk up, you'll get your entry packet, and the reason why, we're limiting wristbands, so there'll just be an envelope. You'll have your schedule, your text sheet, your waiver, and your appropriate number of wristbands and chassis seal, engine seal, stuff people are all used to getting. But you pull the waiver out, and if it's junior and dad and a mechanic, well then there'll also be a minors release in there. So dad will sign the minors release, junior, dad, and mechanic will all sign that waiver. We'll watch them put their wristband on. They'll put their waiver in a file. Basically, we'll have a box out there. They just drop the waiver in a box and move on.
Are you gonna spray it with
Lysol?
That way.
We'll have a little spray with Lysol. They can just drop it in a box. If they're dropping it in a box, they're not dropping it on anything else, right?
Yeah.
Once again, personally, I think that stuff's a little crazy when I watch people touch a piece of paper and want to hand sanitize immediately, but to each their own. So that's why I say, you'll take your waiver, you'll sign it, you'll drop it in the box, and walk away. right? So that means that every competitor has to come up with their entire what their little pit crew is. They're 1 or 2 people, right? You can't have the typical where, oh, I'm checking in, I'm leaving my wristband for Jason's going to show up later. I'm going to leave his on will call. It's not going to work that way, right?
Yeah.
People have to understand, like you said.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish that.
So will you allow, let's say there's a racer that needs a mechanic, and will you allow a mechanic sharing? And as maybe even as a way to help keep the numbers down, if 2 or 3 drivers pitch in and say, hey, we're all going to hire Jason, but we'll put him on Bob's tag.
And that's fine. And I think, let's be honest, I know there's going to be some fudging as long as it's done within reason. Like I'll this afternoon, when I talked with Karting News, I picked on it. I didn't pick on, but I just brought up like Rawlson Performance Group, RPG, right?
Yeah.
Mike has, and some of these teams do the same thing. They have a team principal, and they have a data guy, or they have an engine guy, and then they have other people. Well, there's always 1 or 2 people in there that don't specifically have a mechanic. Well, you're going to have to put your name under that person as their mechanic. I understand. You can't leave the team principal and the data guy at home. I know that. But you're also not going to just have 42 people for 8 drivers. You're going to have to be creative. And I know that maybe Mike Rawlson isn't Jason Berry's mechanic per se, but normally you function without a mechanic, or you're a minor and your dad is your mechanic. So Rawlson will be your mechanic on the sheet. And I get that. We're not going to be so crazy. We're going to be understanding, but people also need to realize if all of a sudden I see something nuts, I'm just going to put a stop to it, right? So everybody knows 1 driver, 1 mechanic. Unless you're a minor, you get another one, and that's it. That's all we can do.
Don't abuse the system.
Yeah, I mean, we just can't have, like I said, if we get 100 entries, we can have about 250 people. You figure with about half the people being minors, plus or minus, right? But with 100 drivers, we can't have 400 people on the grounds. We just can't.
Yeah. Now, what are you going to do? So you're walking us through the registration. What are you going to do about the trailer parking and the pit spots?
So there's no pit spot fee for this event, and I carried all of our challenge sponsors kind of lost out on an event, obviously, because we didn't have the event at Sonoma. So I'm just carrying all their sponsorships over for CRC. So basically, they're going to get all 4 of these races as their sponsorship, and I've already contacted them. They'll hear from me, and it's like, okay, what do you need? Do you need your four spots? Okay, here's your 4 spots, and then we'll have to have what the county asked for is 1 spot in between. Now, that's a little silly, right? You have a trailer and 5 easy ups, and then there's one spot in between, and then another trailer. Not that trailer couldn't possibly be another barrier, but whatever. It's their rules, So you can imagine all the sponsors will
go ahead.
All the sponsors will be on the front row. I mean, you've been to Phoenix, but Phoenix basically has a front row and a back row.
Yeah.
And the back row has a front side and a back side. So you figure there's 3 rows of possible places to put people, right? So the whole front row will be our sponsors. So you'll have there are 3 or 4 spots, an empty spot. There are 3 or 4 spots, an empty spot. There are 5 or 6 spots, an empty spot, and so on. That'll be the front row. The back rows, I'll just park as people show up. You haven't, because you don't come to my events like your boss does. I'm actually the guy who usually parks people at my events, and people always question me. They say, "Why you're the whatever this word means? You're the boss. Why are you parking people? We go other places and there's some guy parking us." And I say, I love to park everybody. One, because it allows me to interact with every customer that walks onto the facility. It allows me to say hello.
Yep.
And allows me to know where everybody is. So then, if anything goes down that weekend, or if my race director asks me, "Oh man, so and so had a protest, or so and so had a question. Do you know where they are?" I know where everybody is. So
yeah,
it's just my way. Right or wrong, it's the way I interact with all my customers, and I prefer to do it that way. So as people show up, I'll just park them, and there's no pit spot fee. And all I ask is you're reasonable with your spots. If you have 1 cart and 1 driver, you don't need 7 spots. And Phoenix is big enough, and it's not like we're going to have 300 entries. We'll be fine. Phoenix is a large enough paddock.
Yeah. Now, since you already started picking on Raleigh's deal, um,
I'm not picking on Raleigh. I'm just using him as an example.
maybe we should send him a quick email. Hey, you want to sponsor this podcast?
Mm.
But yeah, a lot of people know who RPG is. I mean, they bring an entourage. Now, within the tent, are there going to be any sort of restrictions from the county or the city on the spacing inside a tent like RPG or any other team or enclosed atmosphere?
Not that I've seen. That being said, I believe the county asked for the tents not to be enclosed. When I get their written sheet, I will be able to address that. I can tell you at the PKR Club race, there were some teams, but Ruthless and a couple others, and they're a sponsor of ours, Ryan Ruth. There's another shop that works out of their IRS or Innovative. So they had easy ups, kind of strapped together easy ups where everybody kind of got their own easy up, but there are no walls on anything. So I don't know if the county requested there be no walls. If they do, then I'll have to put that out in the sheet. Like I said, I'll know in the next few days, from an email from the club with my laundry list of questions that I sent basically on Monday or Tuesday after the event, that they get back to me by the end of the week. So I don't know. We'll see. If the county says no walls, then there's no walls. You just can't put up walls. That's the terms, right?
Yeah. So teams, be flexible.
You're going to have to be. Look. In 09, you talk about flexible here. There we go. I'm going to go back in time again. But in 09, we ran at Phoenix, and it was like the rainiest winter ever. And for those who haven't been at Phoenix is behind an earthen dam. It's a Adobe Dam recreation area. So it's technically behind the dam. And this raining event was so bad, they called it the 100-year flood. And they let me know literally 3 days before my event that the trailers could not park there overnight. And we had to move our trailers out every single day. Talking about flexible. So imagine going to a race now. Now, granted, 10 years ago, it wasn't like it looks like now. There were really no semi-truck teams. But there were still pretty big teams, Cartel and a few others that had some big setups. Imagine tearing your stuff down every night and pulling your trailer out.
Yeah, and I'm trying to visualize the track. It's really not that far away from the main road. I don't see what the benefit would have been for them, but
here's,
we don't make the rules, right?
No, exactly. Here's the craziest thing. We literally had to move the trailers like a quarter mile to a parking lot that was a quarter mile away. But it was technically outside of the front gate of the recreation area.
Got it.
I mean, it was ridiculous, and teams were mad, and I got yelled at, and same thing. I will say if people give me a little guff in a month, I'll just say, look, we're dealing with the government, we're dealing with the county, they can shut us down at any time, so it's not me. So we just have to be flexible and put our big boy pants on and follow the rules.
Yeah, and that's such the nice thing about technology nowadays, because back then the communication just wasn't as fluid. I mean, as far as 1,000 different ways to communicate with people. Now you can get the message out there a month and ahead of time. You got podcasting. You were on with EKN. You got the website. You could Twitter. I don't know. Are you on TikTok? Maybe you could do a quick TikTok video.
Oh, geez. I don't know if people want to see me do that.
But yeah, the theme of tonight's show: teams and racers, be fluid, be flexible.
That's right. We have to. We just have to at this time, and we'll get through it. We just have to understand that things aren't exactly going to be exactly the same. I'm already developing a plan for the grid to kind of. Phoenix is a very nice long grid. They have a nice flow, so I'll figure out how to make it flow properly. To be able to kind of keep the traffic go one way. I mean, you can't keep it totally one way because obviously every grid dead ends into the track. So it's not like you can send the mechanics out that way. So they're going to have to go down and then come back. But, we'll figure out a flow pattern. The same with tech to get it to flow, just so we don't have cross patterns. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And like I said, I think my personal opinion is a lot of this stuff is overkill with only walking one way down a supermarket aisle and all this stuff. But that's the rules. That's the situation. We just have to deal with it.
Yep. Exactly. Now let's go into the actual event itself. I mean,